All right. All right, everybody. Hello. How are you doing today? Today, we'll be looking at ways to work with IC Light and relighting products inside of Stable Diffusion. This is all related to my latest video that I posted on Monday, and since some of you have asked for more troubleshooting and questions related to the workflow that we had, I just wanted to make a quick live stream in order to show you how it's done. So let's get into Comfy UI. Alright, so here's the workflow that we're gonna use today. You can find it in the description below as well. If you're watching this not live but as a recording, you might find it. You might find either this version or an updated version that I will upload a day after the stream is over, depending on what we do during the stream today. So basically, what this does is, for now at least, it creates a product image and then it relights it by applying a mask. This is all based on IC Light. If you don't know what IC Light is, it's a fantastic new tool that reshapes light in such a way that it maintains, well, at least it maintains most of the original image and then recreates lighting based on either a background or a light mask. As you can see here, let me pull up the original image right beside it. As you can see here, the original image is on the right, the relit image is on the left, and never mind the mask that I applied. If we want to clear that, we can do that. Let's clear the mask for a sec. There we go, save to node. We can see how the light has been reshaped by the mask that we are using here on the left. So it's a powerful tool for product photography, I think. Never mind that this is generated. We're going to take a look at how we can start from an ungenerated image from a regular product photo. And then what this basically would allow us to do is just start from the usual white backdrop still life photography and then just relight it in any shape or form that we like. So cutting time for shoots, cutting costs as well, since you don't have to do a lot of different shots. It is very powerful, I think. And okay, let's bring this one back. I see that some of you are coming in, so hello everybody, welcome. So let's start by generating something now. And then we'll move on to the actual product shots. Oh, hello, hey. How are you? So right now we have a very simple prompt. We have product photography, still life photography of an abstract vase with flowers, white backdrop. I didn't quite keep the abstract thing, but yeah, the nice thing is it also accounts for transparency. You can see that here it accounted for that as well. And that was one of the questions that I got on my video, so I am quite pleased to say that by testing it out, it usually recognizes that something is transparent or translucent, or it has some transparent properties to it, and then it accounts for that as well. Okay, so let's change this prompt to still life photography of a bag, of a designer bag, for example, of a Gucci bag. And hit Q prompt. I'm gonna disable this group of nodes for now so that it doesn't keep running while I generate one of the pictures that I want. And let me actually cancel that a sec and just redo that 512 by 512 so that it's quite faster. I was generating the thumbnail for this video. Okay, so we got our image, and that's nice. Now, one of the issues that some of you faced was with size mismatch. And some of you are facing issues with another kind of size mismatch, but let's address this first. The mask and the image that you're working with must be the same width and height, otherwise this doesn't work. So let's input here in the image resize node where this image that we generated goes to. Let's input 512 by 512. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, 512 by 512. Let's go. And then we can actually, okay, so what we need to do now is we need to either draw a mask on top of the image that we just generated, or import a mask that we generated, let's say through Photoshop, created through Photoshop or any other way. So let's draw a mask here by opening the mask editor and then just drawing some streaks of light over here. And let's hit Q prompt. And there we go. Since in the positive prompt for the IC light group, I specified natural light, we got some natural light here as well. Now, one of the things that you're having the most trouble with is that the created, like the regenerated object with a new kind of light is not quite the same as the one that we were generating or working with at the start. And okay, so as much as plug and play this workflow is, it's not as simple as just putting in your images and then hitting Q prompt. You have to work a bit with the multiplier here and with the CFG here as well as the number of steps sometimes, but mostly the usual culprits, if the resulting image is not quite the same as the one that you're starting with, are the multiplier and the CFG. Let's bring this one here and let's see what I mean. So right now I have a CFG of 1. If you go over the notes that I have put here in my workflow, I say that it's been tested with CFG between 2 and 3. And that's because from the GitHub repository, it's actually being tested with CFG 2 to 3. The examples that I've seen shown on the GitHubs are between 2 and 3 all the time. Here I have CFG 1. So let's go back to CFG 3 and see what happened. Okay, so the image is quite nice, but it added a lot more stuff to it. Hello, Jenny. Okay, let's go back down to 2. And you can see that it's slightly closer to what we started with. And let's go back to, let's say 1.2. 1 sometimes it's a bit too rough, because CFG 1, I think, doesn't take into account the negative prompt. Okay, so the way this works, I think, and this is pure speculation on my part based on testing, and it's because I'm not an expert in instruct pix-to-pix workflows, is that CFG here works basically the other way around than it should on normal workflows. If my understanding of CFG is correct, which I think it is, but I might be wrong, the higher of a CFG value you use, the closer to the prompt you're giving the resulting image is. But and the lower the CFG value is, the more room the K-sampler has to create something that makes sense to the K-sampler itself. So that's why a too big value of CFG results in images that are not quite good. because it's trying to brute force what you're asking for in the prompt in the resulting image. Whereas in this case, a lower CFG usually results in an image that is closer to the one that you're starting with. Why is that? Well, my reasoning for it is that the way this workflow works is that you're doing things the other way around than you're normally doing. You are encoding the light mask, and then you are basically generating an image over the latent that comes from the light mask, rather than generating light on top of an encoded image of the original object. So that's why I think, at least I think, this is pure speculation on my part, that's why lower CFG numbers work best in order to preserve the original image. So if you're finding yourself in a bit of a bind trying to generate an image with this relighting workflow and the original object is not quite the same as the one that you are starting with, lowering your CFG between 1 and 2 might work. If you want to see that again, CFG 1.2 is this one. CFG, let's say 2.5, is going to be something much freer, much more, you know, where the sampler has more room to play around. Okay, so let's go back to 1.2. Hello, Hashesh. How are you? And another issue that I had, and then I'll move on to actually the reason why I'm doing this live stream today, which is a question from a Jenny. No, actually, no. It was also a question by a Jenny. Yeah, but this was, I think, the question by a Jenny that the issues that Jenny had was about the CFG. Yeah. Then I'll move on to actually preserving details, which was another question. Another issue that some of you had was with the model. Some of you were having issues with some error logs. So let me just change the model into the wrong model now. And you can see that we get an error. That's to be expected. Some of you have jumped straight ahead over to the workflow rather than looking at through the whole tutorial, and that's fine. But what we were saying is that you don't, so we have two models. You need to be wary of which model you use. You want to use the FC model, so IC Light SD 1.5 FC.SafeTensor for workflows that don't require a background, that don't relight an image starting from the background. So if we hit Q prompt now, it's gonna work. And then you want to use the FBC model for workflows that relight an image from the background. Now, another thing that some of you were asking about, and I was also saying when I was recording the tutorial from this Monday, was that I am not quite happy with the way that the background workflow works. I think it's not great. Let me bring that up for you just a sec. Duplicate. I'm gonna change the camera view for a sec so that I don't show stuff that I can't show. And I'm gonna go over to my own workflows and bring the background workflow in. Okay, let's go. Hello, Andrea, have you tested Pull ID? No, not yet, actually. I haven't been working with any Face ID related models as of now, so at least during this week, so I haven't tried that one yet. I've seen that Matteo has done a video on it, and also, like, because of some kind of etiquette that I try to to go by. I didn't want to just jump straight on it if another content creator had done something about it, at least not like as soon as possible. All right, but I might look into it. I actually don't know what that is about, so I'm really interested in trying that out. Okay, so we got here the workflow for the background. I'm gonna actually input this image over here. I'm gonna just save it a sec. I'm gonna clear the mask, save to node. I'm gonna save the image so that I can bring that one in now. And let's do that. Let's bring that one in. Okay. And we got the FBC model over here. And let's hit keyprompt. I actually don't know if this background, no, it's not the right size. Sorry, I have to resize that. I mean, it worked anyway, so that's fine. Oh yeah, because it's taking the size from here. As you can see, like the color cast is way too high. And that's what I don't like about this workflow, that the color cast is basically unusable. But if I wanted to do something like this for this kind of situation, what I would do is I would just append a segment anything group. And that was one of the suggestions in the comments of my video, and I agree completely. What I would do is just add a very quick and easy grounding dyno SAM segment nodes group, and what you would do is just basically pull up all the necessary models, maybe something better than mobile SAM in this case, something like VitB, that's fine. And then I would pull the image in, select bag, and then have a, let's say, preview image node over here. Let's see if that works. In the meantime, how are you all doing today? It's raining here in Milan, and it's not, I mean, not cold. Oh, what's the issue? Oh yeah, no, it's trying to do CPU and GPU at the same time. Yeah, I don't know why. I have to specify every time. Okay, in this case, it's not actually understanding it. Let's see if that works with another model. Maybe we want to specify another kind of color for it. Or we might just want to use a remove background node. Oh yeah, that's better. Still not quite good, but at least it's better. Let's try with the VitL model and see what happens. Oh, it is quite slow with the VTEL model. Yeah, that's way better. Okay, it's not quite perfect yet, so let's go back to VitB as a model and specify a red Gucci bag so it's easier for the model to understand what's going on. Yeah, that's way better. And then we might want to generate a new background for the image. So let's go with something like this. I'm going to copy all of that. And I might say, also we have to encode this image and use it. I mean, I could just use the latent, honestly. We're going to use the encoded image over here instead of an empty latent image. And we also have to use and apply control net for depth, for example. It always sounds like it's easier and faster in my mind when I think about using a SAM, but every single time I forget that yeah, you have to use this, you have to use that, etc., etc., etc. So it's a red Gucci bag, but it's sitting, instead of a white background, it's sitting in a forest. Let's see if that works. Oh wow, it's raining quite a lot outside. Can you hear that? Yeah, not quite a forest, I guess. We might want to just use an empty latent image instead of encoding, using the actual latent from the generated image, and let's see what happens. Yep, it works except for this part over here. Maybe the depth is a bit too high. Let's go 0.8. Yep, that's way better. And then we might want to, well, not we might, we actually want to merge by mask. Merge, what was that? Mask, image, merge. I never remember what's the name. Merge. I know it's merge. Oh, it's blend, right. I know it's merge, and it's not. Okay, and we want to put this one in image A, this one in image B, and the mask is going to be this one, and the percentage should be 1, if I thought about that correctly. And I'm going to hit preview image, and that's, the mask is this one. Oh, we have to convert it, mask to image. Convert mask to image. Sure, why not? Yep, and we got the original one on top of the log from the second one. So as you can see, you can change the background like this, and then maybe use this picture. Let's say we want to use, let's use a preview bridge. Hello Renan, how are you? We want to use a preview bridge. We're going to preview the image that we're getting. That's it. That's the image we want. We're going to go over in mask editor. We're going to add some light from the top. Save to node. We're going to input this image over here and this mask over here. And let's see what happens. And the bag is completely different. Let's see if we can fix that by working on the CFG, as I was saying before. And the bag keeps being different. Let's see if by lowering the CFG all the way to 1, it can work. And it doesn't. So we want to keep closer to 1. And let's say we want to have a red Gucci bag. Let's see if that helps. Yep, it does. And there we go. Sometimes you have to nudge the relighting prompt in the right direction in order for it to work. We started from this image over here. We segmented it through segment anything. I'm going to tidy up everything so that it's a bit easier to follow for all of you. But we basically isolated the bag in a grounding dyno segment anything little group over here. Then we generated another image with the settings that we input in the positive prompt. So in this case, red Gucci bag, but in a forest. And then we blended the two images together. So the original one on top of the secondary image that we wanted for background. And then we relit the image starting from a mask that we created on top of the preview bridge image node. And then we got the final result. So from here to here, with the click of a button, basically, or at least the click of many buttons, but once you've clicked this many buttons, you just need to click one button. So that's the strength of it. It's like iterative. You don't actually need to do all of this every single time. So let's tidy things up a bit. So this is the secondary, this is for the background. Oh, wait a sec. Okay, so we want to add a group. Let's call it background generator. I'm gonna move this one out of the way for a sec. There we go. Then we got our grounding dyno, segment anything node. I'm gonna put it like this. We're gonna add group, call it grounding dyno. No, actually, like segment anything. There we go. Then we got the blending. Add group. Blend original. Subject on top of background. Pretty self-explanatory. Do you already work with video within Comfy UI? I don't. I mean, I've been testing it. There's one video actually I've done. I'm gonna link it to you just a sec. Where I actually use animated diff, and it's an animated diff slash how'd you call it? Share, copy. There you go. An animated diff, control net, and IP adapter pipeline, and it works quite well. But for like the resolutions that I'm interested in, Stable Diffusion is not quite there yet. I've seen some really good works, at least a couple of good works, so it can be done at higher reses, and they all start from Blender, which is my approach in that video as well. Either Blender, Cinema 4D, all those kind of stuff, and then they use Stable Diffusion and animated diff in order to render frames, basically, rather than render them normally with your render apps. It's faster in a way, and it's a lot, at least for me, it's a lot easier to understand and get a grasp of, because you don't have to know a lot about materials, you don't have to know a lot about lighting, you don't have to know a lot about shaders, basically like camera angles. It's all taken care of by Stable Diffusion. Well, not camera angles, I guess, because you still have to render keyframes, but still, it's quite good. It cuts some corners at least. Okay, so we solved the issue that was plaguing us with the background, like the relight from background kind of approach. We got this nice and tidy workflow to replace a background of an object and get a nice light out of it without having some terrible color cast on top of the object. Artist feature, hello, I'm new to Comfy UI, where should I start? This is amazing stuff. Well, I don't know if that's a question, but if it's a question, it is amazing stuff. Well, it is not magic, but it's close to it. One of the things that I always tell my clients is that if it looks like magic, I can't do it. I mean, I don't do miracles. I do normal stuff. But I will agree that some of the stuff that we are doing with Stable Diffusion kind of looks like magic. And for clients, it is kind of like magic because it is hard to understand, right? There's two major pushbacks against generative AI right now, and they are one, the how the data sets were composed and how the data sets and how models have been trained on data sets, and that's absolutely debatable. Like the ethics of it are absolutely debatable, and I'm I'm not really one to take sides in that argument, because I think that there's some really good arguments for both sides. So it's that one is debatable. And the other pushback, major pushback, is about AI being all about writing some stuff and then getting a result. I think that if you look at my work or any other people's work that do this kind of stuff for a living, you can see that it's not like that at all. Like in this case, I had to solve an issue, and I was faced with the issue that the actually automatic, let's call it automatic approach to the problem was just using the background relighting workflow, and that's plug and play, but that doesn't work for me. So I had to find a way to do something else, something that was different and was good for me. So in this case, I had to think up a way to recreate a picture starting from the depth map of the original picture, then separate the original object and place it on top of the other, and then relight the image. It's much more similar to a normal workflow, traditional workflow that you have in photography when you have to manage a big studio and lighting, and it's much more similar to a 3D environment when you have to know about shaders, you have to know about cameras, you have to know about lighting, all this kind of stuff. But like the general population doesn't know that, and that's fine. I mean, I don't expect people to know what I do in photography as well. So okay, so we got this thing going for us. Let's look at another thing that I've been asked for. So one of the other things that I've been asked for was how to preserve details in images that have been relit. Now, I haven't prepared anything on that because I wanted to do it live and show you how I work. Let's see. Oh, it's in my emails. I haven't downloaded the assets. Okay, so I'm going to change the scene for a sec. Sorry, guys. Let's go. And let's see where it was. So if you want to, you can just drop me an email if you're having troubles. And I usually reply. I don't bite. Okay, let me just save these images that we're going to be working with today. I mean, I usually don't bite. You never know. Okay, so we got... Let me bring that up for you. There we go. So the question for one of you viewers was, I have this bottle of whiskey, in this case, this product photography that I have, and I want to change the light so that it looks, oh wait, no, that's not it, that's a very old one. Who knows what I have in this folder. I want to change the light so it looks like this. But the thing is, these small letters get all jumbled up. They're not readable anymore, and I would really like for them to be readable and to preserve the details. Well, let's see how to do that. The one thing that I always tell people to take into consideration as, you know, the first step in solving any issues that one might have with Stable Diffusion or generative AI in general is it harder to solve with generative AI, or can I just solve it with something else entirely? Like, to me, this kind of issue looks like something that can be solved inside of another environment, such as Photoshop, for example. But the viewer asked for a solution that didn't actually, that wasn't actually needing Photoshop. So I'm going to start with the Photoshop solution, kind of solution, and then I'm going to move back to Stable Diffusion, and we're going to see if we have solution to that inside of Stable Diffusion. Okay, I'm a 3D artist and I would like to integrate this with my workflow. I don't know where to start. Do you have a beginner's tutorial? Well, I do have a beginner's tutorial. I'm going to bring that up for you. Just one sec. Let's see where it is. Are you a complete beginner or not? That's like, have you ever worked with ComfyUI? Let's copy this link. So if you have never, ever worked with ComfyUI, so this is my video for those of you who have never seen anything about ComfyUI. Then, after we've done that, which is slow and steady, and it's very meticulous, I think. It's not because I'm saying other people aren't. It's just that I've been told I'm really slow at explaining stuff, but I just want to have people like understand what I'm saying and why I'm saying that and how it all works. And after you've done that, if you want to do a mix of 3D stuff and Stable Diffusion, you've got this video. And then if you want to do something in real time as well, while you are doing 3D stuff and you want to do real time SD stuff as well, you've got this one, real time 3D to SD. And there you go. These are the 3 videos that I look at from myself. There's many other content creators out there on YouTube that do some incredible stuff, such as Matteo over at Latent Vision, or Damien, or if you want to know more about there's some workflows as well, but it's more like a general approach to Stable Diffusion and AI. There's Olivio as well. And there's many others as well. I'm forgetting some of them for sure. Like these are the ones that I grew up with as a as sort of a like before I started producing content myself, I guess. And okay, so we want to start from this, get to this, and first of all let's bring these images into Photoshop and prepare them for Stable Diffusion. So I'm gonna bring up Photoshop, where you can see some of the stuff that I was working on, and you might not even be allowed to see, but that's fine. And I'm gonna just resize it like so that it's easier to work with. I'm gonna just fill the extra frame that we have so that it's easier to work with. There we go. Okay. And we got the image. Now, oh, no worries. Thank you. Thank you. It's always nice to have some questions here. Then what we want to do, so for now, let's disregard all of this, which to us is kind of useless. So let's add a group that says generate image and background. I am going to group everything up, maybe change the color so that it's easier to understand. And I'm going to set the group to nether. Okay. I'm going to bring in this image over here, and I am going to put it over here, and let's see what happens. So we got 512 by 512. We might actually want to go up to 124 by 124. We already have a mask that we have to work with, but let's bring that one in because it's not square. So let's make it square. And let's resize it to 1024 by 1024. So we already know the actual size. And let's bring that one over here. Link it up. And then I don't know if the viewer wants to have this kind of harsh lighting, but for now let's stay at 0.7 for maximum lighting and see what happens. So we don't have a Gucci bag, but we have a whiskey bottle. Whiskey bottle, let's say, or where is the whiskey bottle? Between whetstones, I guess. Hi, I'm making a full feature-length 2D animation movie. I'm using Comfy UI for coloring all the backgrounds in a watercolor style. Well, that is very smart. I'm gonna say that is very smart, because like one of the things that I keep saying about generative AI, I was saying that before as well. Like you have to understand which things makes the most sense doing in generative AI rather than doing it in traditional workflows, and the opposite is true as well. Like if it's taking you more time doing it in AI, then maybe you shouldn't, and if it's taking you more time doing it in anything else but generative AI, maybe you should switch to generative AI. Okay, so we got our image. Now, yes, the text is not quite there, is it? That's because the way this works is... So, let's actually go back a sec. During the first implementation of this IC Light workflow, at least the one I've seen, right before it was changed back to this version, we weren't working with latents, we were working with images. So in that kind of implementation, maybe we would have retained the writing in a better way. I'm not sure about that though. But since now we're working with latents, we have to decode an image, and like at least SD 1.5 is not great at decoding text. So that's why we're getting all these wibbly wobbly kind of words. Before going into Photoshop, let's resize the mask to 2048, and let's do a generation at 2048, hoping that nothing explodes over here. We can actually see if it can take... I mean, it's not a very difficult workflow. Yeah, as you can see, like even in 2048, it's not taking a long time at all, because it's like an instruct pix to pix workflow. But yeah, it's not great. I mean, I think this is because it's really blurry. So let's add depth of field to it. Let's see if that works. I would like to see a workflow for character cell painting. So for example, we painted the first frame and then let Comfy UI make the next frame and so on. Okay, so there's many ways to approach that issue. So what you could do is use an IP adapter in order to have the character remain kind of the same, and then use an open pose image in order to get a character to move throughout the frames, but still you have some issues with consistency because you're working like frame to frame. A better method would be doing keyframes and not doing just frame by frame, but letting animated diffusion, that's animated diff, if you want to look something up. I also have a video on animated diff and IP adapter on, where you just place some keyframes depending on how the action is going, like how fast paced the action is, and then you let animated diff figure out what's happening in between those frames. So you might have a little bit of morphing in between the frames, but not as much as the first days of animating with stable diffusion. I mean, it's not figured out yet, but it's a lot more figured out than when we were just starting out. Okay, so 2048 is not working at all. Let's go back to 1024 by 1024, and let's resize this one as well back to 1024. Okay. Wait, did I? Oh, I know why. I know why. Yeah, talking and doing stuff in the meantime. I'm gonna show you what went wrong, I think. Let's see if I was right. So if I am right, we were getting a blurry result because I didn't update the mask here. What it was doing, and maybe I'm just wrong, you don't know that, but no, I was actually right, because it's taking a much longer time than it was before. What we were doing is we were trying to basically instruct pix2pix an original image that was 2048 by 2048 on top of a 1024 by 1024 image, because I didn't update the mask. So that's what was happening, and that's why the result was blurry. Let's see if we get a better result, a non-blurry result right now. Gonna drink a bit of Coke. There we go. Oh, you have all the animation done. I guess what you could do, I would say take a look at, I don't know if you can actually, let me copy this link. Okay, and Nicholas, take a look at this one and let me know if that would work for you. Sorry, it's taking some time to render. Decoding. It's decoding a 2048 image, so yeah, there we go. Much better words. But still, it's a unique sorghum grain, Irish whiskey, sweat and mouth. This delicate whiskey, yeah, it's not quite the words we were looking for, were they? Okay, but we got a good base to start from. So let's copy this image. Let's bring it inside of Photoshop. And let's copy the other image as well. What is it? Hold on a sec. There we go. Let's copy the starting image as well. Bring it into Photoshop and see what I would do with this one. Okay, so what we got is an issue with basically the finest details of an image. Now, for you fashion photographers out there, or portrait photographers out there, what would can this ring a bell? To me, it rings the bell of frequency separation technique. It's a technique that we use for enhancing skin. And so what happens is we're just basically separating the fine detail from the overall color and lighting in two different layers, and then adjusting one or the other. In this case, we want to maintain the finer details of the image on top and then put them on the image on the bottom. So what we could do, theoretically, I don't know yet because I haven't tested it yet, is we would use this one. Let me just do this. I have an action, but the action only works where, okay, so we got this one and we got this one, because my action only works if the starting layer is called background. Photoshop is not very smart with action, is it? So now we have separated the finer details from what is basically the blurry color and lighting layer. And what we want to do is basically blend these finer details on top of the other image, as you can see. And it's a bit too harsh right now, but what we want to act on is just here. So what we can do is just mask this out. There we go. And mask it out here as well. And then we want to do basically the opposite. So I'm going to duplicate the mask, add it over here, delete this one since we don't need it, and then we're going to go, there we go. Did you see what happened? Okay, let me explain. So usually, because I know in my head how it's done, but I have to explain it to all of you. So let's start from the basics. So what we did, and you can see it in this image over here, we separated the image into, well, 4 layers in this case, but really 3 layers, which is a base layer, which is the same as the original image, layer for lighting and color, and it's a very blurry one because it only takes into account the light and color of the image, and a layer that is only the finest details that we have. And if you want to look that up, I'm gonna write it down in the chat. It's called frequency separation technique. You can look that up either here on YouTube or on Google, and there's plenty of ready-made actions for Photoshop that are gonna work out with just a click of a button. But what we wanted to do was use the top layer here for the finest details in the non-generated image, and then use it on top of the generated image. Because without this layer, what we have is, let me just show you, what we have is this, some wobbly words. Whereas with the frequency for high details from the non-generated image, we can retain those details by just masking out the finer details of the generated image in the area where the words are, and then masking in the words in the high detail range from the non-generated image. Does that make sense to you? Is anyone in the chat still following me? Please let me know I am not like a crazy person talking and no one is understanding what I'm saying. I know there's a delay, but please don't let me think I am the crazy person here. Okay, so basically, for me, this would be case shut and done, because if it was completely up to me, I would not spend a single minute more trying to find a solution that works inside of Stable Diffusion, because this is as easy as it gets inside of Photoshop. So I wouldn't really care for it. And this works for any detail. Like here it's words, but it should work for any kind of details. Let's do the bag first. So let's go back to the bag workflow and let's link up the bag from here. I'm gonna show you that I'm not crazy. Let's switch on this group of nodes and let's add some, actually this one wants to be 512 by 512. You understood? Okay, that's perfect, thank you. Okay, and here we want to have a red Gucci bag in a forest. No, actually we just want to have a red Gucci bag because the forest is coming in from the previous image. Let's go, let's generate. It's gonna go through all of the hoops, which are basically gonna be the same because the city is fixed, so it shouldn't change that much. Generating the bag, using the control net, going for depth. we generated the same things that we already had. Thank you, Stable Diffusion. What's the issue about? Why are we having issues? It's 512 or 512, right? 512, 512. The mask is coming from, oh, right. It's regenerated, so it didn't have the mask from the previous generation. Let's go and hit Q prompt again. And there we go. Okay, so if we bring this one inside of Photoshop, let's copy that, paste it over here, collapse everything, and let's hit the play button for the frequency separation technique. All right, let's do the same, but for the original bag, which is this one over here. Copy that, bring it inside of Photoshop, frequency separation, and let's copy the detail layer over here and bring it in to the other image, the generated image. Now what we want to do is we want to preserve the detail that we kind of lost over here, but we have in the original generated image. So what we want to do is just basically add a mask out all the details from the image that we have regenerated with new light. I'm gonna be like really loose with this one, don't mind me. You can do better. You can be better than I am. And then we want to, well, I'm just gonna do it quick and dirty. I'm gonna duplicate the mask by duplicating the layer and then deleting the layer. And then we're gonna invert the mask for the detail that we had in the original kind of image. And then if we want to just be, you know, a bit more kind of a precise, you could do that as well by going in, masking out, all those kind of things. And then you get some nice details that you would have lost otherwise. And that's basically it. So if that works for the whiskey bottle, that works for everything that you're losing details on. Easy peasy. But how do we do that inside of ComfUI otherwise? Well, the answer is I don't know. And the answer, I guess, is let's find out. Let's take a journey into how the minds of people who develop workflows actually work. Okay, so we have an issue to solve here. And let me just turn this one off for a sec. And let's bring back the original bottle. Let's go 1024 by 1024. Maybe I should have used two different tabs for these two different workflows. How do you get those images to store at the bottom of the one of the in ComfUI? Oh, okay. So I don't know, but I was, because I always had this. I always had this. I just started ComfUI the first time many moons ago, and I had it. But I was told that it's something you enable inside of settings or on the manager. I don't know. You might find it inside of the, I don't even know how it's called. I'm sorry, I'm regenerating the bottle. Hold on. Oh wait, there's a Gucci bag in the prompt. Whiskey bottle between wet rocks. Right, sea rocks. And let's generate all of this. It's gonna take a bit. Hold on. Please stand by. Top right of the manager. Okay, so let's open the manager. Top right. Top right. Workflow gallery. No. A small icon. What is this? Close. A small icon beside the wrench. Close. I don't know where the wrench is. I'm blind. Am I blind? Might be blind. You don't need to open it. I don't have the wrench. This is my Q prompts column. Oh well, I'm sure some of you will find it. Sorry, I was dragging it around. You're right. It is outside. There. I really don't know. Extra options? I don't know. View history, maybe? I don't know. Well, when you close the pictures, the icon appear. Let's close the pictures. Oh, there we go. It's like this one. Yeah. Found it. Thank you, Luma. Thank you. What is it with you today? Oh, are you still 1024 by 1024? Is that what it is? It is. 1024. Okay, let's run it again. One more time with failing. This time is gonna be faster. I was generating it at 2048 instead of 1024. Sorry about that. Okay, as I was saying, we need a way to keep the words and lose the rest. And honestly, I am quite stumped about how it could be done. So one approach, I think, would be to in-paint everything over here so that it has no words, and then blend the words from the same mask, but from this starting image on top of this, and just say, like, I don't know if there's how many blend options there are in Stable Diffusion, but if there is a blend option like in Photoshop that is darkest color, you might get away with it, and you might do something like this. Otherwise, the kind of other thing that comes to mind is using a control net for line art, and we might actually want to try that, but I'm not sure that would work. But I mean, we're here for testing things out, right? So let's try that. Gonna bypass, double bypass too. Okay, line art, why not? And let's see what happens. The image it's sourcing from is this one. And actually we need the line art preprocessors, I guess. Line art, anime line art. Why not anime? And let's add a preview image just to troubleshoot stuff. Okay. I mean, we kind of got the words. Maybe they're not great, but we kind of got them. And let's see if it's better or worse. It is kind of better. It is kind of worse. It is not what we were looking for, I guess. So the line art kind of solution doesn't quite work. Maybe anime line art at 1024. Let's see if we get a bit more. Yeah, we got a bit more details out of it. And it's kind of getting better and better. Can you do 2048? And can you take into account 2048? Not quite. Not quite there yet, huh? Okay. So let's scrap that. Let's think. Let's hit Q prompt again and regenerate without the line art. What we want to do is preserve all of this inside of Stable Diffusion. Does anybody in the chat have any suggestion? What would you do? I said that I'd either try a control net, but that doesn't work, or I would be in painting over here in order to get all these words to go away, and then I would blend the words from here, like the original picture from here, on top of the other by blending for darkest color, so that we get only the words on top of it, because we have to preserve lighting as well. Remember that, chat. And if you're just tuning in, we already solved this issue inside of Photoshop by separating by using the frequency separation technique that I normally use for what you call it, for skin retouching, and using the detail layer from the original image and putting it on top of the generated image and masking out the details for the generated image and masking in the details for the original image, and that works. But the viewer was asking for a way to do that in Stable Diffusion. There might not be a solution. I'm not saying there is. There might just not be. No suggestions from chat. You're always so resourceful, chat. Are you stumped as well? I mean, it's not an easy one. I'll give you that. So what we want to do is, so let's switch this off and use a preview bridge preview, because we have to work with masks anyway, so might as well, right? And then we have to, I've only been partially tuned in, but I would separate the text from the bottle, diffuse the bottle, and that text back. Yep. Yeah, that would be my reasoning as well. I would just in paint everything here to get rid of the words, and then blend these two together where the mask is for the in painting, and then just I don't know if there is such a blending option inside of Stable Diffusion, but I would just do something like in Photoshop where you can just blend by darkest color. In this case, it's all black, the text. So you would just be blending the text on top of the generated image. But again, to me, this makes absolutely no sense doing, because you can do that in Photoshop in 2 seconds, basically. But let's try and do that. Okay, so we want to, yeah, exactly, or image composite. Yeah. The issue with image composite is that, well, let's actually image composite from mask batch. No, we want to have a blend image blend by mask. I mean, there's a ton of different. So let's start with this one, right? Let's start running tests. And let's add a mask over here. And save to node. Want to convert the mask to an image. because unfortunately this image blend by mask node doesn't accept a mask. And then let's go with 1 and add a preview image. Let's see what happens this way. What are you? What's your deal? Okay, yeah. The mask goes here, the image goes here, yes. So that's the issue, right? We just want to blend in the text. We don't want to blend in the actual lightning. There might be a satisfactory blend percentage that doesn't blend in too much. Like if we want to maybe use a blur node, like Gaussian blur mask, and then use like a, let's see how that works. Let's tidy things up a bit. I'm gonna add a preview image node here to see the mask. No, we wanna blur it more. Yeah, it's starting to get better. Still not quite great, huh? But I mean, I've seen worse. I can make out the words here. And let's actually bring up the starting image here. Yeah, the lighting is a bit different. It is. We can't keep the same lighting because it is lighter in a way, but the words are being kind of kept into place. Let's go all the way up to 0.8. I mean, it's not bad. It's just not the same exact lighting that we had in the beginning, I guess. And I also don't have a lot of... do any of you have any links to custom nodes for post-processing? Because I don't do post-processing inside of Stable Diffusion, but if you have any suggestions, I might install them. And like blending by parameters that are not blend percentage, or blending by, as I was saying, darkest color or stuff like that. Do you have anything in mind? Or even just, how do you say that? Like any standard post-processing. Like if we go down with the exposure here a bit on the starting image, I think we could get an image that is quite similar to the one on the right. Let's see if I have some. No, I have image posterize. Let's see inside of the manager, install custom nodes. Post. Conf UI post-processing nodes. I mean, with a name like that, why not? Might just be what the doctor ordered. Okay, I'm gonna restart Conf UI a sec. Okay, there we go. Oh, let's go back to this instance and let's search for post. Oh no, wait, I have to. Oh, I didn't want to go through all of that again. Let's go through all of that again. I'll tell you what, chat. Conf UI, I don't think it's made for live stream. Okay, yeah, we have to repaint the mask. Let's do it over here as well. Save to node and hit Q prompt. Ah, I went a little bit overboard, huh? Opening mask editor. Clear the mask. Let's do it again. That's what I get for going fast and loose. There we go. Okay, now we got the post-processing, right? Exposure. I don't know the names of these fantastic nodes. Let me pull up the GitHub. Post. It's the ComfyUI post-processing nodes, and what's the names on the nodes? Example workflow. Expanded node list. Color correct. No, we don't want that. Temperature, hue, brightness, contrast. Maybe we want that. Yeah. If only there was standard names for stuff. Am I right? Color correct. This is exposure. It's not color correct. Okay, and we want to color correct the resulting image over here, and we want to go down with brightness. I want to go down with the thickness. I don't know what's the scale here at all. What's the actual scale? 0 to 100. Does it go with stops? Does it go with what? Let's go -10. And use it as image B. And well, I mean, I guess I use a preview node. If only there was a way to let me know what's happening here. Yeah, -20, I guess. Not quite there. We're gonna go -40 all the way down to -40. Like, that can't be right. No, -30. And we also want to go down with saturation a bit. Let's say -10 because I don't know what the scale is. Yeah. And we want to up the contrast maybe. +10. Yeah. And the... I would say this is hue, and I would say it goes from... Does it go from red to green or from green to red? Who knows? Let's go up 20. No, it goes from red to green, of course. Okay. That's too much. -5. We're getting there. We are getting there. Getting there. Temperature. What's your... Let's gamble, chat. Does the temperature go from yellow to blue, or does it go from blue to yellow? Left to right or right to left, chat? I am guessing yellow to blue. So if I wanted more yellow, I'm gonna go with -5. Let's see if I'm right or wrong. And I was wrong. It goes from blue to yellow. The other way around. Of course. Saturation, we need to go down. -20. Okay. I mean, it's okay, right? Like, it's not exactly the same, but for something thrown together in like 5 minutes, I think that it's acceptable. The contrast can be improved a bit. Let's say 25. Yep, and the saturation needs to go down because the contrast went up, so the -35. Yeah, I mean, I am satisfied. Like, we don't have these little glare that we have here, and the whites are not quite white. But come on, you can literally do that in Photoshop in half of a minute. Like, are you seriously gonna ask for me to do all this? Maybe, maybe not. Do we have any other good notes that we want to call it? Tint. Ooh. Applies a customizable tint to the input image. Okay. Dodge and burn. Adjust the image brightness using dodge and burn effects based on a mask and intensity. Oh, wow. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute, chat. Chat, do you know of a way to extract light as a mask, as a black and white mask inside of Stable Diffusion? Because if we can do that, then we can apply dodge and burn by using that mask and have the same lighting that we have here. Or maybe we could also use this mask. Dodge and burn. Let's see if that works. When I use this one and this mask over here. Convert mask to image. Does this make any sense to you, chat, what I'm doing? Or why I'm doing it? I think it would be a better question, I guess. Sure. Image B. Let's go with 0.5. Well, that's a bit too much, maybe. 0.3. Yeah. Yeah. It works. I mean, it's not quite the same, because if we had a way to extract the light map from this as black and white image, we could use that as a map. How do you do that? How do you do that? Like, can you remap our RGB image into black and white? Remap, maybe. Remap, image range, no. Black and white, no. BW, mask from RGB CMY, bleed W. Can you do that? What is this mask? Mask to image. Preview image. Doubtful. I'm guessing up the threshold. Okay. I mean, I'm trying to get white, so 1, no. Yeah. I mean, if we blur this one, blur, image blur, blur radius, let's blow this out of the water, like 40, I guess. Sigma, don't know what that is. Let's say 10. Preview image. What's it like? What? 1? What? I mean, you can't just throw an error. You have to tell me what the error is about. 40 was too much, huh? Okay. Okay, so we've got the mask for the, well, let's call it light. Let's be like very, very, very loose with the term. And let's do it like this. Yep. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna recap what I just did, huh? Okay. And let's do some tidying up. I'm gonna do some tidying up and I'm gonna explain what I did. Color correct. I'm gonna bring this one over here. The starting image we don't care about. I mean, we might care about it, just to see it, but we have the image blend by mask. We have the convert mask to image node. We have the mask. We have it here. Let's do some tidying up, huh? All right. And then we have some dodge and burn. We have some color correct. And there we go. Okay. There we go, chat. So what we did was, since we were starting from this bottle over here, and this bottle has some nice words on it. You can read all of most of them, I guess. And we wanted to relight it into an image such as this. But the thing is, if we relight it and leave it like that, the words are kind of a mambo jumbo of unreadable text. So we don't want that. We want actual words because we like reading stuff. And we like selling products that are actually the same that we are shooting instead of generating. And in order to do that, you could just do it in like half a minute inside of Photoshop by using the frequency separation technique. And or you could spend half an hour figuring it out in Stable Diffusion and then just, do that every single time for every single image you generate. This is, I'm being sarcastic, but it's been fun. And we want to mask out anything that is written. And then the first approach would have been to, I guess, in Paint everything so that we get rid of the words and then we get the original words on top of it. But while that would be great, that would be actually the better solution to this, what we realized was that we didn't need to actually get rid of the words in the background because, they were basically occupying the same space. They were just a bit jumbled up. So what we wanted to do was blend this image, this starting image on top of the generated image. And in order to do that, we wanted to keep the same light and color and exposure as the generated image. Now, in order to do that, we can extract a light map from the generated image, which is extracted from here, which is a mask from RGB CMY BW. We got the whites out of this image and then we blur them in order to use them in a dodge and burn node. And by dodging which is a technique to enhance lights and shadows, I guess, if you don't know about it. And by dodging only the areas of the original image that were masked by the lights inside of the generated image, we got the same lighting as the generated image. And then we corrected a bit of the exposure for temperature, hue, brightness, contrast, saturation, etc., etc. And then we blended all of this together at 0.8 and we got some nice words like in the beginning, but with the newly generated light and background. How's that? Huh? For like 20 minutes of work. Okay, any questions? I will take questions now. Do any of you have questions? Does all of this make sense to you? To me, it still doesn't make sense. I would rather do it in Photoshop because like every single time that I generate a new image, let's do if I don't have, if I have this same bottle, then yes, let's do that in a forest between ferns, I guess. Hue prompt. Did I ask for ferns? Yeah, I am changing the background. Yep, in a jungle. There we go. We got the jungle. Where is it getting this archway from? Like, come on. Let's do 1.5. I changed. Yeah, I said let's do 1.5. What I mean is let's change the CFG value to 1.5 so that it's not as, how do you say that? As bound to the prompt and the original image as it was, because we kept getting this kind of natural archway. So let's change the CFG to 2. Now it's less bound, but by what we were selling it to do. And it's creating something that is slightly different. Okay, we got a nice forest in the background. I'm gonna open up again the mask editor. We're gonna go over to our words here, select them, save to node and hit Q prompt again. And as you can see, easy peasy, we got the words back. So yeah, like if you're working with just one image, I guess this is faster than doing it in Photoshop. But as soon as you change the original image, then I mean, you have to start from scratch again. Let's change, let's add a preview bridge node here. Not a preview image. Bridge preview. Yep. Let's go again. And let's change the light. Open in mask editor. We're going to add some streaks of light. I'm going to say neon. You're probably going to see that in this case, it won't be great. I mean, it's still quite good. It's, no, wait, it didn't mask it. Yeah. Let's go again. Save to node, hit Q prompt. And yeah, we would have to change the whole temperature, contrast. Like in this case, we would have to go way more up with contrast. Let's say 50. I mean, 50 is maybe too much, but let's go again. Yeah, 50 is a lot better now. Maybe even 70. 70 is a ton. Yeah, because everything changed, so you need to change everything once again in order for it to work. Like this is, maybe when you already know what you want to do, this is great because you just have to change a few parameters here and there, and then you get to keep the details, the fine details of the original image. But once again, I would rather do that in Photoshop instead. Okay, and that's it. Do you have any questions, chat? Apart from can you change the background? Because I just did that. But if you want to check how to change the background without using, without actually directing the background and not using the background relight workflow, you can go back near the start of this live stream, and we are changing the background through all of this process here, and just keeping the whole thing going without color casts or any other of the issues that we were facing with the background relight workflow that we covered on Monday. What else can we do? So we covered, oh, I didn't use this mask. That's why it wasn't working. We covered, whatchamacallit? We covered replacing the background. We covered issues that you might have been facing with CFG and with different models and throwing stuff out of the loop because you weren't using the correct models, for example, or the correct CFG. We covered replacing finer details. We covered generating products. We covered using already existing product photography. I honestly do not know what can actually be of interest with this workflow apart from that. But well, let's actually change the light to harsh neon light, whiskey bottle in a glass, in front of a mirror. Let's do that. But yeah, like honestly, as I said in the beginning, this is kind of a game changer for product photography. Like you can just shoot anything on a white backdrop and then just relight it and just do your own thing, and that's it. Let's open in mask editor. Let's select this and save to node. and hit Q prompt. Yeah, and as you can see, as I was telling you, we need to just keep changing the brightness, contrast, anything here, because otherwise it wouldn't work. So here, for example, we have to go way down with the, well, that's maybe too much, but let's go down to -60 and intensity up to 0.6, just in order to actually get an image that is kind of good. Maybe upping the gamma. Yeah, upping the gamma might be great here, because the contrast wasn't quite cutting it, but the gamma here is what makes it. And also you have to know about all these different things, like you have to know what a gamma is, for example. So not great for people who are not used to post-processing. Okay, so we got this one going as well. And I think that I covered all of your questions. Again, if any of you in the chat have any more questions about using IC Light, that's your cue. Otherwise, I'm gonna leave you all with my previous video, which I will be linking right now in the description below, if you haven't seen how to work with IC Light yet. And this is the workflow that we started from today, and I will be uploading this new workflow when I have tidied it up a bit, and then I will just update the description. Last 5 seconds to ask questions. That's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. All right. Thank you everyone for tuning in. My name is Andrea Baioni. You can find me on Instagram. I think you can cue the prompt with Ctrl+Enter. Oh yeah, no, I mean, I usually try to keep things as simple as possible, because I don't know the level that my viewers are at. Some of you are at a really advanced level. Some of you are just starting out. So I try to keep things simple. Like, for example, there was a video where I was using Blender as a base and rendering stuff. And I think that was Luma who said that I could just export a depth map. And then I think it was some other, Luma told me about keyframes, yeah. But I was told that I could just export depth maps, and I did another 2 videos on that, but I never exported depth maps because I didn't want to add complexity, if that makes any sense to you. Okay, so thank you everybody. As I was saying, I'm Andrea Baioni. You can find me on Instagram at Rizunamushi, or on the web at andreabaioni.com. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment below, or drop me an email over at andrea@andreabaioni.com. And I'll be seeing you, I guess, next Monday, unless I feel like doing something this weekend. Thank you. Thanks. Bye. See ya.